unfortunately with that game today against Sentinels, I think that we kind of didn't play to our comp strengths, which is playing aggressive and, especially on defense without running a Astra, at least on Haven, and without running any kind of a Sentinel on Haven, we have to like push up. We have to play active, and that's kind of like the style that we thought would work against a lot of these teams.
First of all, I'm in tough loss today, but I mean, congratulations on qualifying for Masters 3 Berlin. Obviously, this is a team that you said is built for LAN, but has had a few shortcomings in the different regional events earlier this year. Masters 1, Stage 2 Challengers Finals. So how does it feel to finally kind of get over the hump and finally break through into the event you guys have been looking for?
Yeah, I mean, it feels great to be able to go to a LAN finally. It's been a long time, just for even just most of the guys here. It's probably been years for me. For a big tournament, it's probably been 4 or 5 years. So, it's been a long time coming. And obviously, like you said, we did build this roster for LAN. We built some of the most experienced players in the world in Counter-Strike that have been in, countless big event finals, grand finals, Intel Grand Slam winner. So I think there's, a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge on this roster, and it feels good to be able to do it. It sucks that our online results sometimes don't really do what we consider our roster justice, but we do what we can, and we're doing our best out here.
You've been involved in some pretty high stakes lands over the years with Cloud9 and Team Liquid and their CS:GO divisions. But like you said, it's been a while since people have seen you on land. Do you think there'll be any sort of nerves? Will it take a while for you to sort of get back into the flow, or do you think you're just gonna hit the ground running and start tapping heads offline?
Um, I think Valorant in general and FPS games in general are just a different beast on LAN. The idea of having no ping, you're able to hold angles. There's no peeker's advantage like there is online. I remember even in early CS:GO days, for the first year or two, there was pretty much no LANs and everything was online. And then once you started getting into the circuit and they started getting into the actual LAN events, the game changes. People discover and find different ways to play the game. There's different spots you can play on LAN that you can't do online. So, you know, I don't necessarily think there's going to be any nerves. I think there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, just because the game is going to be different in general. But overall, I think that the nerves of the team and the experience we have, I don't see it being a nervous thing. I don't see it being a, oh God, we're in person and we've never done this before. I mean, we've boot camped. We're probably the team that's boot camped the most out of all the teams in Valorant, right? And in an A, for all these events. We've spent a lot of time together. We have a full support staff. We have coaches. We have sports psychologists. We have all these things that are set to help us succeed. And so I think that using that plus our experience and just the overall just knowledge we have should kind of propel us to do good in Berlin.
As part of your boot camp, I believe you guys are down in the complexity hideout right now, or the complexity compound for your current boot camp. For those who aren't super familiar with that, or who are just familiar with like boot camp in general, just sort of talk about what the advantages of being down there together gives you compared to practicing online from your own separate homes.
Yeah, so we are in the complexity facility. Shout out to complexity. Big thank you to them for hosting us here. The idea of boot camping is an idea so that all 5 people or 8 people or however many people, coach, assessing out all the people of the team, all the players are in a centralized location. You're interacting with them for many hours in a day. You're developing chemistry out of the game. You're developing chemistry in the game. And also this specific instance, we wanted to do it at the complexity facility because it's a centralized location. Just geographically, being in Texas gives us the best ping possible to pretty much any server we want to play in.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing that, it just made more sense to end up boot camping here in Dallas and Texas than going to the Cash App compound in LA.
Mhm.
So, it's a double thing this time. But normally, just boot camping is just getting everyone in the same location, hanging out with them, doing things outside of just playing the game. You develop your relationship, you develop your chemistry. It translates into the server. You trust them more. It's more fun. That kind of stuff.
Something that's been very fun to watch during this event is your guys' new Triple Initiator composition. Yourself on Silva, Steel on KO, and Ethan on Sky. Just talk a little bit about where this kind of idea came from and what drew you guys to it when you first kind of toyed around with the idea.
Yeah. So it seems like a lot of the teams we've played don't really bother playing KO. And being Counter Strike players and having that Counter Strike background, KO just seemed kind of like a shoe in. It forces us to play a different style than many teams are playing, and hopefully that they're not used to. We don't really, unfortunately, with that game today against Sentinels, I think that we kind of didn't play to our comp strengths, which is playing aggressive and especially on defense without running a Astra, at least on Haven, and without running any kind of a Sentinel on Haven, we have to like push up. We have to play active, and that's kind of like the style that we thought would work against a lot of these teams. KO allows you to play retakes really well. He has his ult, his knives for early info. With the Triple Initiator, we have so much info we can get. We have the knife that'll tell you where if it silences anyone. You have Sky's dog and Sky's flashes. You have Sova drone and Sova arrows. So we have a lot of info we can gather. I don't think we played it to the strength today, but I think that in a normal day, we should be able to get more info and play more reactively than other teams that play more defensive comps, like the Astra Sentinel, which is whether it's Astra Killjoy or Astra Cypher. We should be able to play more aggressive and get more info than they could to know where to play and how to rotate and where to push.
So with the spot in Berlin secured, are we going to see sort of more experimentation with this comp for the remaining? I mean, obviously, you guys want to win this event. You want the high seed. We don't know the format for Berlin, but I assume a high seed will afford some kind of advantage. We hope. But are we going to see more experimentation with this sort of triple initiator composition for the rest of the matches?
I mean, ultimately, we'll have to see. I know that we're, you know, don't have much time between now and the best of 5 tomorrow to even really consider making a comp change and what that would do to our strategies and what that would do to our our setups that we already have. But definitely going to Berlin, I think we would maybe reevaluate and see if it actually, I mean, minus the Sentinels game today, I think we qualified for Berlin. We beat the 2 teams we need to beat.
Yep.
We have our spot. So whether it works against Sentinels and everybody else, we'll have to reevaluate that. So yeah, I personally don't see us necessarily changing comps for the rest of this tournament, but possibly looking at some of our strategies and figuring out what went wrong and how we can fix it.
Congrats again on reaching Berlin. Good luck in the matches tomorrow and in your journeys to Germany. Should be fun, exciting to watch. Thanks again.
Thank you very much for the interview. Have a good day.
All right, you too. Bye bye.
Thanks for watching. For more gaming related content, subscribe to the Dot Esports YouTube channel to stay up to date.